past those hurdles, they're actually able to knock down playoff caliber teams. C9, who have been having early game struggles kind of repeatedly now, maybe there's a road where this lines up and Impulse can sneak that win in. They've always got to keep hope up. They've got to keep the spirits high. You heard Procxin say, you know, C9, when they get behind, they say, well, we can win the next fight. Impulse as a team need to say, well, look, the season is still salvageable, and pull something together here in this game. We'll see if they can do it. Their last game of the week, 3 total games left to play in the regular season. So picks and bans, get rid of multiple magic damage, essentially mid laners from C9's side, and no Callisto for Sneaky, and will Jhin stay up?
Yeah, I'd love to see Jhin. It was just insta-banned in Cloud9's first game of the week, but it's obviously available now. First picking it would be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of other big power picks you'd want to lock down here. Nidalee is gone, unless Rush really wanted to play Kindred. A lot of times, especially in the LCK, that's been the next tier jungle. But Gragas is way up there from just being able to match clear speed of pretty much anyone and having amazing pick potential.
Absolutely true. Depending on who you ask, it's Nidalee then Gragas. Oftentimes has the 1 and 2 in the jungle pool right there, and with the Nidalee ban, no surprise for a lot of people. Impulse, though, can make their choices. This is still 6.4, so the Riptide nerfs in 6.5 are not in. Nautilus is pretty much the premier top laner right now in League of Legends.
Yeah. Or mid laner.
Or mid laner,
I've
actually.
been seeing so much play in the mid lane, whether it's a full tank in the mid lane, or I've seen some Rod of Ages Abyssal Scepter Nautilus in the mid lane because he has good ratios. Come on, guys, pick Nautilus. It's really good. I don't think the Elise would be a strong pick here.
Yeah, they have no need to pick Elise early on. They're still looking at that plus Janna. Again, it's very surprising. Impulse would rather counterpick an expected Nautilus than get it for themselves. There's no rush on grabbing the Elise because Rush himself is already going to have Gragas.
Yeah, I don't really think Nautilus has that many counterpicks.
Yay!
Easy choice here for Cloud9 in all actuality. High's support pool is Alistar and Morg, but his Morg has been super sharp. I think Morgana's also better synergy with Jhin in particular. Land of Dark Binding, it guarantees all of Jin's damage can land. Also, if Sneaky gets into the late game, he'll have a lot of movement speed on crit, and the Black Shield will make it so he doesn't get CC'd during that. Really good synergies just overall for them, and obviously, I think Jhin is super strong for Sneaky, probably the best Jhin we've seen.
So it's going to be fun to watch how he can do on this one. Jin's record, sadly, is 0-2 in the North American LCS. Sneaky himself lost against Immortals on it, and then yesterday we saw Apollo in that slugfest of a game, though he did top his team in damage. Could not close it out as Dignitas lost to Echo Fox. Picks come through for Impulse. Double Marksman coming in here alongside this Janna support. So Mash getting a Sivir, and the Graves is almost definitely going top lane here for Feng.
Yeah.
This is a no-tank team. I want to see what Pirean goes for at the end of that champ select.
If past performance is any indication, definitely top lane Graves for Feng, even though we have seen sparing play out of mid lane Graves. Nothing too surprising there, but pretty squishy team.
It's worth pointing out, Nautilus actually not picked up at all. C9 doesn't care about the champion. They go back for the Trundle that they played yesterday, I believe, and picking almost the exact same team composition. Instead of a Corki, there is a Jhin. Otherwise, 4 of the 5 same champions here for C9, picking another poke composition into a team with very little engage outside of the Sivir ulti.
And it's even the same matchup in the top lane. Balls was Trundle against Seraph's Graves yesterday in the Renegades game. And he was pretty comfortable in that matchup. He never fell too far behind. And they want the Trundle for the poke composition. Trundle has actually surprisingly been close to core in most of the great poke compositions we've seen, because the pillar, once you max it, is on such a low cooldown. It's tremendous disengage, as well as just very easy to slow people down to land more of your skill shots.
Yep.
So I like the overall team composition from Cloud9. Like you said, super similar to what they did yesterday.
And meanwhile, Impulse looking for a little bit of X Factor now in this lineup. LeBlanc in the mid lane coming through. Is going to be interesting to watch how well that does against Varus. Of course, it's easy to itemize a Hex Drinker on that champion to maybe survive some of the early damage that can come out of Pirean here, but it's definitely on Impulse to crack this comp open, and it's largely Pirean to do that.
I really don't like the Team Impulse composition. I feel like Sivir is suited best with a lot of things that enjoy running at you, like tanks and bruisers and such, but they picked a bunch of marksmen and assassins who would have no trouble getting there on their own. So really Mash will be speeding himself up and maybe amplifying the other guys a little bit, but really not enabling anything extra out of these champions. So I honestly feel like if Team Impulse wants to win this, they have to snowball it super early and get leads in almost every lane. which a past performance is an indicator. Team Impulse with the lowest average gold at 15, Cloud9 with the second best average gold at 15 in the LCS is highly unlikely. So not a fan of this draft from Team Impulse.
Totally agree, and you saw that C9 did not go for the poke comp hardcore. The Varus didn't come through until after they had seen, oh, yep, it's Graves top lane, yep, it's Janna in the support role, it's Elise in the jungle, no engage tools. Great, let's stay back, and good luck, Janna, disengaging a Varus arrow. That's going to be a tough one here for Impulse. C9 might have the champ select victory, but we'll see how it plays out. You guys at home, tweet at eSports with hashtag C9 win or hashtag TIP win for which one is going to be. Cloud9 in control of their destiny to hold on to second place and get the bye at the first round of playoffs. Impulse right now sitting alone at 8th, but they're one game away from 9th, one game away from 7th. We'll see which way they can move after this one as we get ourselves into the first game of the day.
Yeah, we'll see if Cloud9 can clean up their early game from yesterday, because you said they had some failings lately, but it was against the trend of the year. So much is made of high shot calling and decision making, but what ends up happening is Cloud9 has just been kind of crushing people in the first 50 minutes of the game. Their lanes are incredibly strong. They play with confidence. High makes a lot of early rotations. There is still shot calling in the first 15 minutes of the game as far as team-wide strategy, and normally that has been where Cloud9 has been excelling.
And we'll see if we catch more of that excellence in this game. Then we can pay special attention to where Rush goes, where the team wants to be. Now we talk about the fact that C9's composition is largely a poke comp, and talking with Sneaky yesterday, he said, yeah, all they had to do was just be safe in the early game and wait till the poke comp comes online. So a successful early game for C9 might just be nothing really happening. Could just be their favor to wait till that one core item comes in, then group mid.
Yeah, Gragas and Elise can both offer some early ganks if they so choose. I'd say Elise's first 3 levels are a little bit stronger than Gragas, but it's arguable. If anything, though, I'm wondering if Cloud9's going to look to get a 2v2 lane with the Jhin and Morgana. If we think back to the first time Sneaky played the Jhin, they got first blooded and then still decided to play the lane aggressively. So they're really going to want to be pushing here. And they have a fight if they want it.
And they've got a bit of a surround onto the Impulse dual lane, who are starting up in the blue buff, and then suddenly High is there, but can Varus lock them out on the backside? There's the spot. Dark Binding will reset the big blue buff, but the small parts of blue will be taken.
Match gets both. I'm a little perplexed by what just happened. So Feng was up in the top lane anyway.
Oh, wow.
They're doing an early 3v0. Sneaky did not expect Feng to be there. He was going up for the free wave, and instead of just 2v2ing them in the jungle, Team Impulse was like kind of outgained at the very beginning, but they win this trade enormously. Yeah,
3v2 on that side of the map overall, and yeah, getting some early damage. And honestly, I do think, based on my knowledge of the matchup, this is a better 2-on-2 for Impulse. Jhin has to mess with reloads. Last hitting under turret, this is the worst AD carry for it. Period. I can't think of a worse one than Jhin for trying to last hit under turret here. And Sivir Janna has pushing power in spades. Also, Sivir can hold Spell Shield really easily to block Jin's W. She should never get rooted in this matchup in any way without misplaying here or without a gank from Rush. So I like TIP's 2-on-2 if they can play it right.
Yeah, once again, I'm really surprised that Sneaky and High didn't just follow Mash and Gate into the jungle and at least contest for the level 2 minions on their blue buff. Instead, Rush has gone for another recall. Now Procxin gets an early gank off.
Chain lands. It's still going to root him. Oh, the cleanse dodge, but he's still going to go down. Yes, he will. First blood. Repel the dodge aggro. Perfect dive by Impulse for first blood.
Yeah, and it's so rare we actually see those level 3 ganks work, but because he was able to land the chain, Jensen was a little bit, late on cleansing the chain and flashing out early, but honestly, if Procxin's willing to burn flash all summoners like that and get in on him anyway, once that chain lands, he is in a lot of trouble. Watching this one more time, remember the Varus does have cleanse and flash, so he flashes early, and then he cleansed as soon as the stun was on anyway. It's just the fact that Procxin was willing to take the turret shots, repelled perfectly. If that next turret shot would have hit him, would have been in danger of dying because of the ramping damage on turrets early. Either way, that's the start Team Impulse needed.
That is a beautiful start for Impulse. We'll see, because they need Pirean to be big. They need him to be able to crack open these champions. Jensen has to recall on just a longsword here. Not even a pink ward to my knowledge, so Corrupting Potion regen is going to be the best he's got. Sitting on his base regeneration and everything else. Gate taking a bit of damage. High can feel happy getting some gold. As the Dancing Grenade goes back and forth, and the dual lanes, there's wave clearing back. Feng wards the Tribe Rush, hopes to stay alive himself. The flash was burned by Procxin, so the gank pressure of that Elise is slightly now lower for these other lanes.
But just looking at the early game overall, so much has gone favorable for Team Impulse. Right off the bat, the invade, the early kill on a Jensen that also burned both summoners, whereas Pirean didn't have to burn his flash in the mid lane on LeBlanc.
Yeah, they should repeat gank that. Distortion into E if that lands. Free cocoon, free kill. We should be seeing Procxin set up a camp down here.
Yeah, and they also have a pink ward in the left side brush, so with the minion wave shoving up here, if Procxin just paths straight down there, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him.
And no surprise here, Rush comes over.
He has to be here in case Elise respects
Sweeps the bottom side. Jensen's okay, well, bot's already warded. Let's walk to the top side. Yep, there it is. There's the pink ward. Trinket ward over the wall.
Really dangerous ward clear here, actually.
If he has Rush around, he's still okay. But yeah, here comes the team, and Elise is not far behind. Root onto Jensen. Is the Elise going to be there? Repels onto a minion. Here comes Rush, and he's going to come in for the body slam, but that is the clone. And it's Rush losing a flash for no gain, but here comes the dual lane of C9.
Got him.
Pirean's caught out. Where's Mash and Gate? They're nowhere to be seen. It's C9 collapsing faster, Corrupting Potion ticking down, and a double kill for Sneaky.
Well, that's exactly what Cloud9 would need to get back in the game. I was surprised that Rush wasn't closer behind Jensen while he was clearing that ward, but really the kicker was the fact that High and Sneaky, in a lane where they shouldn't necessarily have the shove advantage, were able to rotate down there early. That's a macro mistake, so to speak, by Team Impulse for not being able to chase down there and lend the support.
Impulse went for a really, really greedy play. Mash recalled right on refillable potion plus Cull.
Oh, yeah.
And hope, like, all right, okay, now I have the sustain advantage. I'm going to get money on you. But that was what lined up. He was under his turret, a wave C9 and pushed in, and it made that happen.
So obviously we're watching the pink ward go down here. The minions are a bit of a saving grace for Jensen, actually. Otherwise, he could have cocooned him right off the roof from that. So he has to then repel in, and immediately rushes there. Double flash burn right there, so he's not able to kill the clone. But because the chase is there, teleport burn, it's essentially 5-man party in the mid lane. Pirean and Procxin can't retreat in time. And yeah, Mash as well as Gate are still chilling up there in the top lane. At this point, it's too little too late for Gate. And the double kill going over to Sneaky for an early BF sword. That'll punish the call from Sivir pretty hard.
That's going to punish real hard. This does not feel good for the Impulse dual lane anymore. Right now, a 1,000 gold lead for C9. And a lot of that is farmed, to be completely honest. Normal stuff here on all sides. Warlord's Bloodlust, a great keystone for marksmen that aren't really great with Fervor. And Deathfire Touch on the 2 poke AD carries makes a lot of sense for C9 here.
Yeah. I think I'm favoring Warlord's Bloodlust on the majority of AD carries who aren't like a Jhin or a Varus who have amazing synergies with Deathfire Touch. Fervor Battle, I think, is a little bit outdated at this point.
I think it's still good on Hurricane users, so I think Kalista would still run it. And then with Vayne, it's debatable because your attack speed based, but dueling is important. So.
It's all about how quickly you can max stack the Fervor Battle, rather.
Yeah, yeah, and it tends to work really well with the Hurricane users, which also then applies full damage to Hurricane bolts. So, but yeah, definitely a lot of variance there depending on the champion you're playing. Either way, it's C9 feeling really good about this one. And again, I don't think they need to do very much. They can wait and scale up and stack the tier on this Varus. If Jensen's not dying to LeBlanc, he's actually up 20 CS despite getting first blooded.
Yeah, and he
C9's
actually
happy.
Pirean's just using his distortion to escape Varus arrows, which is really just going to give the shove advantage constantly to Jensen. And as long as he has his flanks warded, he's going to be feeling pretty safe, especially now that his flash and cleanse are back. So he's completely recovered from that first blood death.
Yeah. Jensen landing, I believe that's now 3 abilities in a row into Pirean. It won't be a 4th, but you can see how hard of a time this LeBlanc is having against tier boots and a longsword. Like, this should not be this easy, but Jensen gets a little bit of help from Rush, and is otherwise just outplaying High! Outlast hits a jungler with an auto attack on Morgana, adding insult to injury.
I just don't know what Procxin was doing there. Just save his spider form, Q, execute. There's no way High should be able to steal it with a Morgana auto attack, but I think he'd used his spells a little bit early, trying to get it down, and he's trying to get revenge.
Flash cocoon and a hell of a lot of damage. High's got nowhere to go. Great pick up there. It's a kill through for Procxin. He's got all the kills in the team. It's a real pop for the chase. They only get the minion wave, though. Jhin will be safe under the turret for now. And Balls has been trading a bit unfavorably with Feng, but that lane's fine.
Yeah, payback for the Scuttle Crab, I suppose, from Procxin. High getting a little bit, probably a feeling of invulnerability after he was able to steal a Scuttle Crab with an auto attack. Needs to remember that Procxin is still Elise, and he could not black shield the cocoon there.
And that's what's so good about Janna into Jhin, by the way, is a lot of his damage from that 4th shot, because his crits, by the way, only do 1.5x.
Yep.
So you're critting for literally just headshot. Like that's just the same number at that point as Caitlyn headshot, but then it has missing health damage, which if you're at full all the time because of Janna shields, you're just headshotting people, which is strong but not insane.
Yeah.
And so TIP being able to trade equally, right, that 2-on-2 should be fine in general. You saw also Sneaky had learned traps because he's a player who does that, unlike Apollo and Reckless. And you Spell Shield doesn't get mana. And so unless you're alongside a punishing support like a Leona or maybe a Braum, they actually get on you and toss a skill shot your way, you just Spell Shield and get mana and kind of ignore what Jhin would do to you.
Yeah, I like as Jhin seeing more and more play, people are really discovering the matchups because he is a uniquely played AD carry in the way he scales with items, damage versus crit trade-offs, all the really complicated math that goes into that.
Yeah. We had a Skype chat the other day talking about item breakpoints, what they give to you. As Sneaky buys more, we'll share some of the numbers.
Yeah.
But for now, it's just smooth sailing for C9.
Well, essentially, if we're going to pay attention to Sneaky's build later, if you're building nothing but BF start items, your total damage is going to be higher.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start building the Zeal items like Static Shiv and Phantom Dancer, you're trading off a little bit of absolute damage, but you gain a lot of mobility. Because on crits, with higher crit chance, you will gain more move speed afterwards.
Yeah.
You'll always get the move speed after your 4th shot because it's a guarantee crit. So if anyone had seen one of those Sneaky 1v3 triple kills, he had double Zeal items, and he was just kiting massively in between each shot because he was continually critting.
Yeah.
We'll see if we get to that point in this game. It'll be pretty cool.
He will get at least some of them at some point. He is sitting on a longsword right now, which, to my knowledge, he'll sit on for a while. Normally, Infinity Edge is the first major item pickup for Jhin. I haven't really seen S3 for quite some time, but up to him to make the choices. Team Impulse did take away the top lane Rift Herald there and the Scuttle, so Procxin has continued to get a lot of farm and get a fair number of things done. But what he can do with those 2 kills is going to be important to watch for. Has the Tracker's Knife, so he'll do what he can to get the ward control up. Ooh, good dodge on the chain by Jensen. Actually, it's a lot of damage that would have triggered because of the mimicked Sigil of Malice. Bot lane turret goes down to C9 in the heads-up 2-on-2 because Sneaky getting 2 kills can translate that advantage much more readily than Elise seemed to have been able to with her 2 kills. That meant bottom turret went down.
Yep. The payback for the early recall of MASH, buying the call into the double kill of Sneaky when he was able to roam down bottom lane. And then even though they tried to lane swap back to kind of dodge the lane and then shove, High has control of that Scuttle Crab. So last time he got the Scuttle Crab and then died. And once again, he's kind of getting punished for all this Scuttle Crab.
He got spotted doing it. Another team coming through for High. They break the black shield, which means they can come right in. Pops the ulti, will get a 3-man stun. No, gets knocked back, but Gate still takes a stun. And Balls show up and gets that first kill. High getting away, staying alive. Pirean trades back onto High. And the battle continues with Balls having to flash away. Feng on the chase. One more hit will do it. Gets the kill. The shutdown is nice, but Procxin trades his life as Jensen takes him down. And now Explosive Cast knocks him into the root, into the turret. He ults into turret range himself, and Feng goes down. A double kill for Jensen. All said and done, 3 for 2 to C9.
Yeah, team fight just kind of happens because High was going for the Scuttle Crab. That's the true objective that forces team fights. Not the Dragon, but the Scuttle Crab for a Cloud9 game. But yeah, it was all about the full collapse down bottom lane. High played this pretty well after getting caught out. Notice his Black Shield is popped, but then he's able to sidestep the Cocoon. And then he actually flashes forward, and it pops as Gate channels his ultimate. So Gate doesn't get the heal out from any of that. Balls then flies in. He's able to finish off the kill. Feng had used his teleport down. Sneaky's on the side while the Varus is collapsing from the top side. So Team Impulse is actually trying to run away at this point as Rush comes over the wall. Cloud9 was later to the party here, but still ended up with more kills, I think because they out-executed Team Impulse in that team fight. It's the confidence we talk about when we say Cloud9 in team fighting. Great ultimate by Rush at the end, chain with the Sneaky route. Just really
beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful stuff. So Sneaky is actually going for the Essence Reaver route. I think it's just because he wants to play more poke-based. The W, especially with Deathfire Touch, does a hell of a lot of poke damage. This will be much less teamfight damage. Crit damage is a great stat on him otherwise, but it's poke.
Sneaky has about 75 solo queue games on that. Oh my god!
Dear Lord, he's already gone. Now Jensen taking plenty of damage, but it's still Procxin in a 1 versus 3 as High shows up, and Procxin realizes maybe I shouldn't have been here. Repels up and will not get the kill, but he will get killed himself. A nice ulti by High. That's going to get picked up there by Rush. 2 kills for Cloud9. And now it's Janna.
How many can he get?
1, 2, 3 misses, and 4 dodged away. Stays up, but no balls. In the top side, picked off Graves.
All right, this game is going to Cloud9's favor a little quickly right there. A lot of beautiful things happen for Cloud9 in that fight. Huge burst damage at the very start for Pirean, and then the Maw of Malmortius procced, giving him 10% lifesteal and 10% spell vamp, and he's still got a lot of damage down on there. So he pretty much lived because of the lifeline passive from the Maw of Malmortius throughout that crazy engagement. And now we're going to get to see the duel here.
Great
Pillar knocks him back. Ults him a little bit late, but it's going to be the ticking damage. Gets the slow on every Q. Doesn't even need to flash. He's got the angle on Feng.
Wow.
And just bites him down under the turret. He already had the level advantage on him right there. Tiamat and the Boots of Swiftness give him the pace to keep up.
I'm honestly a bit surprised that Feng died. He had low enough health for the full 20% lifesteal on the Warlord's Bloodlust and still died in one auto attack. So Ball's great job winning that duel under the turret, even knocking it down afterwards. 8-4 and 3-0 the kill and turret score now. C9 really well ahead. Very smart by Jensen to finish rushing the Maw of Malmortius early on. Did not go greedy, survived because of it. Now the engage on to Rush, but he dodges the chains. Will not be held down by this LeBlanc. And runs free.
It's just a certain level of confidence that Cloud9 plays with.
Yeah.
You see them putting themselves in situations where they must outplay much more than other teams. So Rush was willing to clear that ward, thinking, okay, if they collapse on me, I will dodge the skill shots. He's able to dodge the chain or dodge a cocoon and escape. And we see that more from Cloud9 than I think we see from any other team in North America.
Yeah, them and Immortals feel like the most heavily like,
we will outplay you.
Yeah, we will just outplay you.
They're
you know, whatever happens.
3v3. They don't. Obviously, they are willing to capitalize on someone walking over ward, but they're also willing to go into more blind situations, like this one, for instance. But I don't think this is one where they want to fight. Seeky's got to watch out.
Have to outplay this. No. Black Shield comes in to stop the slow, but here comes Pirean from around the wings, and that will be Sneaky going down. Wishing he could be a little bit sneakier than he really was in that one, but a nice knockback by Rush. Disengages 3. Pirean wants back in, dodges a bind, slowed down, flash forced by High. And a 1-for-0. Impulse burning a lot, but getting a kill, which is really big for them.
Good brush camp there by Team Impulse. Sivir ulting just to kind of guarantee that Sneaky would not be able to escape. Although that will not salvage this mid lane any little bit. That's now a 51 CS advantage for Jensen in the mid lane. And they're going to be pushing that mid turret pretty hard.
No stun for the backside. This is theoretically a 5v4. Sneaky is nowhere to be seen, but the turret goes down anyway. No one comes to capitalize. And it always surprises me when a team loses a member and then takes a turret because of that fight, essentially.
Exactly. Team Impulse committed 4 people down to the bottom lane, and Cloud9 retreated 2 essentially back up the river. And Cloud9 was actually coming down to stop the eventual chase all the way through. But then at that point, Cloud9 had the angle on the mid lane turret, and Team Impulse was already committed to the bottom side of the map. So all Cloud9 had to do was just push up the mid lane with their full force. And since they're stronger,
of course,
just by gold, there's no way that Team Impulse could have actually stopped that turret from falling.
But what's sad is TFE didn't even trade anything. Dragon didn't go down. Bot lane Outer didn't even go down. There's just so little gain from this team. They got a pick and then got less objectives than Cloud9. That doesn't happen often.
C9 so much to the pick.
I know.
4 for 2, is that worth it? If they could have done it with 3 people, maybe it's a little more, but
yeah.
Pirean did go down to secure the kill. That almost made sure. Also the fact that instead of Cloud9 running back towards their bottom lane turret, they chose to path towards the river, kind of pathing their retreat away from an objective. A lot of little things go into those not paying off.
Sneaky having to run away. Flash forced. Running back in towards the Elise, getting her out. So to touch on Jhin builds real quick, now that he's got Zeal picked up there. Basically, if you do the math on how much attack damage and crit and whatnot is got in, Zeal is basically 175 gold less efficient than it is for other AD carries.
Strictly from a damage
from a damage stat perspective, you get 175 less gold worth of stats after doing all the multiplication and whatnot. However, you get move speed on crit and more crits to trigger move speed. So you are basically buying move speed more so than normal with the Zeal. And that's kind of how that item works out. And it's still not terrible damage-wise. You're just, again, it's not BF swords.
Yeah, and even just from a trend perspective, Sneaky in most of his solo queue games, will be building an Infinity Edge first into a static Shiv. But with the Essence Reaver, obviously gets much more cooldown reduction. They are doing a poke-based team, so maybe that's why he wants lower cooldowns on his poke. Also, we saw Prey playing Jhin over in the LCK. His build also was Essence Reaver first, so there's still some variance. It's by no means wrong to go Essence Reaver first or wrong to go Infinity Edge first. It's presence and it's based on the state of the game. This game, Sneaky wants more poke and more cooldown reduction, so he's gone Essence Reaver.
Sure thing, and he will be able to set up some picks almost for certain. Moving in for this bot lane, tier 2 Cocoon hits Sneaky. Black Shield comes back on to keep him alive. Couple of crit ricochets clear the wave out and do some damage, but now Procxin's in a bad spot. Great ulti back by Janna. Stops the body slam in its tracks. Gate puts a tornado in, the burst comes in, and Rush flashes away, but still dies to a little bit of damage coming out of Procxin. 1 for 0 so far, now trying to dodge away. He gets sniped out by Sneaky, who will not quite get Gate, has to flash out of it. But a 1 for 1, a great ulti. The curtain call is just that for the Elise.
Sick aim right there by Sneaky, forcing the flash of Gate to prevent a double kill coming from the curtain call alone. Even though Cloud9 loses Rush in the battle, they still win the war. They take down a turret after a 1-for-1 kill trade, exactly what they wanted.
All right, good stuff here. So 6,000 now the gold lead as Cloud9 continued to balloon ahead off some great plays. Again, a 1-for-1 still means a turret. They trade it better, just doing a much cleaner job of these fights. Blue buff's still going to come in as well, quite cleanly. Sneaky can now, I think once he gets to buy, sit on 40% cooldown reduction because of that. And he's going to be happy. Frost Queen's claim already done for high. He can help set up these picks. Any kind of tangential slow means, yes, Jhin ulti will hit, or a barrel will hit into a Jhin W for the root, into everything else landing. There's just so much poke that also sets up for more poke. And it's so difficult to deal with for Impulse. They've been trying to find engages, they're getting occasional picks, but not the team fights they want.
Yeah, at the very start of this team fight, it was actually very good Janna ultimate by Gate to stop the body slam before he could get the stun on the Procxin, which is what ended up kind of doing Rush-in, since then Procxin could return damage, but just the first 2 shots, and then the fact that he landed the 3rd one without having a pre-slow on Gate, forced the flash, since that 4th shot is going to do more damage than the first 3. And it would have been a kill if Gate had not a flash.
Yep, it auto crits for double damage, and curtain call in general deals up the triple based on how much missing health is dealt. So as the bolts come through, they do a lot more afterwards.
Remember when Hai was talking about how he plays support on Cloud9? He's like, well, I know I used to play mid lane, so I know what Jensen wants, and I used to play jungle, so I know what Rush wants on the jungle. But as a guy who used to play jungle, he just wants to kill the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah.
Over and over again, whether or not he's on a support or a jungler. I don't think I've seen more Scuttle Crab focus by a support in quite some time.
Maybe the last Smite Blitzcrank you saw in solo queue, but that was about it.
Yeah.
It's been a while for me.
One of those Devourer veins in the bottom lane who brings Smite. They'll have Scuttle.
Oh, that's right. I haven't seen that in a while. Actually, speaking of sort of Devourer veins, I mean, Mash did play Kindred earlier on in this season, and hoped he got lucky with Scuttle Crabs as well with that one. They didn't win that game, but it was cool to see. Traps in the brush. Sneaky loses the crit for a blue trinket ward and reloads the clip.
You got it back quick.
Yep, 2 seconds, no matter how high level you are. Which is also the duration of the boost speed boost. It lines up pretty perfectly there. High, wow, getting crushed down. Procxin really mad that the Scuttle Crab keeps dying. Trying to pick him off, doesn't quite get the damage down though, and now Elise has to run for dear life. Ultis come in, Rush is doing a ton of damage now. Gate is going to be locked in. That's going to be the crit for Sneaky. That's going to be the kill. Pirean can't quite do enough. Will not get rooted in place, but Feng answers back. The support finally does die. Still a 1-for-1 so far. Snipes coming through. Clone blocks it. Now looking for a slow on a Feng. Doesn't get much of anything. Look for the kill onto Pirean. Could not get it. But again, a 1-for-1 means C9 kills a turret.
Exactly. The fights are always happening on this side of the map, and Cloud9 isn't as wounded as they're running away. The start of it actually wasn't great. High lost 75% of his health to Procxin, but the collapse did come from the rest of Cloud9. Again, they were able to trade kill for kill, and again, they were able to come away with the turret, extending this gold lead.
Cocoon's gonna miss. Procxin really wants to fight, but he's not in the best spot right here. C9 not really ult focused and ult required, and it's gonna be Procxin on the wrong side of this one. Balls pops the ulti himself to get his stats up, and now Feng is just dwarfed in comparison, flashes away to not get stunned up by some more of that damage coming through.
Cloud9 does have to be careful because they are still on tip side of the map, so Gate was able to make it there before High. That's why they backed away, because they were going to be running into a 4v5. but you really get to see how powerful Balls' Trundle is at this stage in the game. Titanic Hydra and Ice Morgana are his 2 favorite items, and they continue to fight Sneaky, though.
Oh, Procxin's low, so is Sneaky, but he's going to get out pretty cleanly. Black Shield on to make sure no tangential damage burns him down. Mash burned his own ulti for that one. Sneaky lost double summoners. I got to say, that's a probably better trade of resources in Impulse's favor. Sneaky also a pretty important cornerstone of this team. He's carrying 4 kills, more than anyone else on the roster. He's the rich one. And now Gate and High once again doing battle. Stun's gonna land. Time finding.
Him? Like, what is he trying to do here?
He's basically mid lane Morgana. Exhausts them. Chains come through, doing a lot of damage to Balls. The re-engage comes in from Procxin, and yeah, C9 a bit overstaying, but now the setup delivered on a silver platter.
Kind of. I mean, that was such an aggressive play there by High. Balls ended up dying because he was trying to come in to support him and Pirean cut him off, but still, it's a 1-for-1, and now Cloud9 has more pressure. They're going to try and push the mid lane.
That's the kind of kill where everyone says, good job Sneaky in chat and High did all the work.
Yeah. Good job, man. Nice
well
work.
played, Sneaky. Significantly good skill shots.
They get 80% of the turn in the mid lane now. It's another shot from Sneaky and can get it down. LeBlanc's push is now gone, so I think he's going to get it.
They're going to go forward there. Sivir ulti pop after the turret dies. A couple of shots go through. Jensen got cocooned, and the damage comes in. Procxin gets it. But here's the trade damage back onto Feng and Pirean, who goes in, gets rooted. Again, High doing the work onto the Elise. Rush goes down. That's a 2-for-0. Just kidding. 2-for-1. Jensen says no thank you. We'd like 1 on the scoreboard. Out goes Impulse.
Still very good cocoon there by Procxin. I don't know where High's Black Shield had been used. That would have been exactly what Sneaky needs at the start of that. They lose it 2-for-1, but once again, they win the objective. We'll watch this one more time. Watching High, trying to find where his Black Shield is being used. Yeah, it just got burned by the volatile Spiderling. So he did have a Black Shield on Sneaky. It just got blown up so quickly. Then the Sivir ult comes down. Rush almost disengages. And now it's all about Jensen. So they still technically have a marksman to try and return damage with. Just waits for the timer on the down repel.
Perfect play.
Yeah, really slick there by Jensen. The only way Procxin could have outplayed that is by dropping even earlier and then trying to run away, because Jensen would be trying to time it. He had no other targets to repel down to that would stop him from coming straight down on the ground.
He had no choice but to land right where the arrow was going. Mash, I still gotta say, I regret his choice to not go Static Shiv here. They could really use the wave clear, and also, he could just happen to break Black Shield, by the way. That like 200 magic damage crit could just get rid of that buff and really help TIP land some of their combos out there. But Mash, hoping to get a bit more self-sufficient, 1-0-7 is definitely having a decent scoreline for himself. And we'll see if that team can stay afloat. Gold lead 8,000, Dragon number 2 now on the field, so C9 have even better turret killing tools. Infinity Edge now also done, so Sneaky's gonna have just ridiculous amounts of damage now on this champion.
Yep, got his build fully going here. From there, because of the CC that's flying at him, I'm expecting him probably to go QSS next item.
Yeah, that's really likely. He could go Hex Trigger because it's better defensive against the damage of LeBlanc. And speaking of which, forcing the flash, still gets the root onto Jensen, gets the ulti across, and here comes a burst in from Elise. But by the way, 2 people have already been sniped down, and Jensen is somehow still alive. Procxin can't even take him out. A double for Jensen, a 3-for-0, all said and done. But now it's going to be even more. The root lands, Feng whips the jump over the wall. Jensen not part of this one. Sneaky and Balls doing it by themselves. 4 kills, only Mash alive. Just gonna hide in the jungle.
That maw of Malmortius has been so clutch for Jensen. Yes. Obviously he's gonna build it every game against this team, but just the specific timing of proccing Lifeline passive right as he can do enough damage to lifesteal back up has been super awesome. They try and get him. Great ultimate by Rush to delay their collapse onto him. Maw of Malmortius pops. Also, he gets a 240 damage Black Shield
and a locket shield
over the wall, and a locket to just fill him up with health. Then you see the dangerous game from all the kills that come through, as well as the Lightning Zero and Spellvamp keep him up. And then Balls and Sneaky just wreck Feng entirely. Yeah. Balls has been the unsung hero of this game for sure. The solo kill he saw when everything else was happening, he's just been absolutely huge, making it so there's no way Feng can split push with Graves.
And this is going to be the middle lane inhibitor under fire with the Baron buff on. C9's got to feel real good about their chances with this push right here. Sivir ulti comes in, but immediately the body slam into the knockback, and a Gate being the target, but so is Mash running away on Sivir, dodging these snipes as best as possible. Ball still takes him out, and Jensen, the other one, the dual lane of Impulse is gone. And Impulse 3v5. Cloud9 have all the tools they need to close this game out right now. A double-sized minion wave with the Baron buff on. Ball's just delaying the Elise. A bit of wave there comes out from LeBlanc, but it does not even matter. The chains coming in, trying to get the damage through. Feng will try, and they won't get up, but Procxin will. Finally, a kill comes through. 3 versus 4 now inside the base as Impulse heal up. The Nexus cannot do that same thing, and that will be the game. Sub 30 minutes, Cloud9 staying in control of second place.
Yeah, much cleaner game for Cloud9 than they had yesterday against Renegades. This will secure a 2-0 week for Cloud9, put them at 11-5. They will have Echo Fox and Liquid next week, and they are gunning for that first round bye and second overall seed in the playoffs.
And they are unable to get first. Immortals actually locked that up as of yesterday. That one's not moving around, but second place is definitely a good spot to be. And we'll see how these teams end up shaping up, especially as we start looking into the matchups that may unfold in the playoffs. Seeing who the 6th place team might be as well. Impulse, though, their record depreciating to 5-11. They have to win their last 2 games to have a chance at playoffs, to even theoretically make it a possibility. Even getting 7th would require a minor miracle as well. A 3-way tie would make it okay. And just getting ahead of Echo Fox, but Impulse.
Yeah. It's been a tough road for them. They've now lost 5 of their last 6. And we'll be searching for answers because they have had a small window here. Their first 4 minutes or 5 minutes of the game went quite well, but then they just do not seem to be clicking. We talked in Champ Select. We didn't like their team comp in this game either.
Yeah.
They low tank. They
imagine that was Nautilus instead of Graves.
Yeah,
or Rammus.
Maybe something there could have triggered, but a lot of that game was just Cloud9 forcing very aggressive fights and them just kind of straight out playing them. You can see Cloud9 still pretty happy about that one. Seeker got to play Jhin. Everyone else got to play exactly the same champion they played yesterday. So the comfort stage was there. Yeah.
And it was a 30-kill game in 29 minutes. Both these teams, I think, were very willing to fight. Right, and I mean, you knew that Impulse had to. Like, okay, they've got the Sivir, but they're against the Poke team. Like, you have to go in before they're in position. They had some nice brush baits. They got that first blood in the first 4 minutes. That was solid. Like, there were glimmers of hope here for Impulse. They're not, completely garbage or anything.
Yeah, they're not completely hopeless. They've won 5 games when many people expected them to win fewer.
Right.
There's a lot of things they would have to clean up, and maybe at this point they have to do it in the promotion tournament.
Yeah, and if it wasn't C9 they were facing, like, that game might have been better for them. Impulse, the glimmers are there, but they've got to get it consistent. We'll see. They've got 1 week left of games before the postseason. Maybe it turns around at least a little bit to give them some confidence. That's what they're focusing on here. C9, though, of course, all smiles. 2-0 week. Close or not, it's a sub-30-minute win of the second one. So props to them. And for now, we're going to throw it down to Riv, who's